Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Moving Right Along, a Muppet movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. It's the podcast where we watch the Muppets Take Manhattan 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Anthony Strand.
And I'm your other host, Ryan Rowe.
And joining us today, we have a very special guest star, one of the core writers, one of our bedrocks at toughpigs.com. Who are you, Guy?
Hi, Guy. I'm Guy Smiley. No, hi. My name is Louie Pearlman, and I've been a proud Tough Pigs writer since 2016. Yeah.
2016? Yeah, because you were like brand new when we started doing the Muppet Show 40 years later reviews.
Ish. Yeah. Because that was maybe... Was that in 2016 that we started? Yeah.
2016 was when we started.
That would have been, 40 years.
Wow, that's really wild.
Yeah.
Yep. But I was reading the site when it was still being run by like Danny Horn and those people. I've been reading the site since I was 20 years old. So to be part of the Tough Pigs family is still a huge honor and a privilege.
Sure. Yeah, I feel the same way. And we are honored to have Louie here today to talk about minutes 87 and 88 of the Muppets Take Manhattan. And in these minutes, Kermit and Piggy make each other happy. So,
yes.
Here we go. So there's a lot happening in these. We start with the last few lines of somebody's getting married. And we've talked a lot about how this movie doesn't have very many Muppets in it. And now all of a sudden it does.
They're making up for it. Yeah, it has every Muppet in it now.
Right.
But that's sort of what I think. I think that's what they're going for. The story before this is so compact and really focuses on just a few individual characters. And then all of a sudden, it's like this coming together of this like community of Muppets. And I think it's really, full disclosure, these are my favorite 2 minutes of any Muppet project of all time.
Huh.
Awesome.
I don't like anything as much as I like these 2 minutes, quite frankly.
You
Maybe the 2 minutes that follow it I like, but that's
there are other minutes you like, you just don't like them as much.
No, all other minutes I hate.
Right.
I love, this is the bright spot for me. Everything else,
in the Muppet movie, Great Muppet Caper, you're just like, ew, no thanks.
I scowl. I turn it off. I say, why are we watching this childish pablum?
but then as soon as Jerry and the Atrix sit next to some babies at a wedding, you're all about it.
I'm like, this is perfect for me.
Awesome. All right, so what happens? We start with the Sesame Gang. We saw them last week, so I won't list every member of the Sesame Gang that we see here, but we start with Ernie. We continue Ernie's line, which is, "Miss it? Am I late?"
Mm-hmm.
And then Bert says, "No, they'll be here any minute." And Cookie Monster says, "Oh boy, me can hardly wait."
That's two Frank Oz characters in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Two Frank Oz characters in a row, which also makes me think about another crossover between the Sesame Gang and the Muppet Show Gang, Muppet Family Christmas, where you have Bert as Mama and Grover as the mouse who is not stirring on stage at the same time.
Yes,
right?
Yes. That whole special is such a feat.
It really is.
You guys should do a few special episodes where you break down a few moments of that, because it's almost as cinematic as some of the movies are.
We have some plans for Muppet Family Christmas that we are not announcing yet.
I apologize for that.
We're talking about how we want to cover that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so good. It's so great. I love it so much.
It's the greatest. Yeah. It's my favorite. Like you said, this is your 2 favorite minutes. That's actually my favorite Muppet project ever. I think.
It's up there for me. Absolutely. When I'm not playing my Muppet snob character, it's really very high up there for me.
Well, I've always said that I can imagine Jerry Jewell finishing that script and just like standing up from his typewriter and saying, "Alexander wept, for there were no more worlds to conquer."
Yeah, seriously. It really is. It's a perfect Jerry Jewell script. I know we don't want to go too far off from talking about these minutes of Muppets Take Manhattan, but it is Jerry Jewell's crowning achievement, that script.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, yeah.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit last week, so Ernie and Bert have encountered the Muppet Show characters before. They were on...
Yes, they were on the Connie Stevens episode.
Yeah.
And they're in the Marty Feldman episode 2, right?
I believe they are. Yeah. So, and then after this, it's they pop up in Muppet Family Christmas. Are there any other interactions like between Ernie and Bert and Kermit, say?
Ernie and Bert. Well, it's funny.
Or any of these Ernie like main Sesame Street characters? Obviously, Kermit was on Sesame Street, so.
Right, Kermit was with Cookie Monster all the time.
That's true.
That's like a duo.
And
that's
Grover.
That's a famous duo. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Grover and Kermit as well. Yeah.
Right, and of course, like Big Bird asks Kermit about how Santa gets down the chimney, and Kermit and some of the guys go investigate.
Right, and Big Bird on the Muppet Show with Leslie Uggams.
Big Bird on the Muppet Show, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in a couple of years, they will all attend the same banquet in celebration of 30 years.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's after this. That's right. That's after this. And they're all hanging out together at the banquet because all the characters were still owned by the same companies at the time.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
The halcyon age.
Yeah, it's too bad they can't do that anymore.
Oh yeah, without like major, negotiations, which is really a shame. And a lot of people sort of meld all the characters together in their minds and don't understand. I've had people like 2011's The Muppets. I had people be like, "Where were Ernie and Bert?" And me being like, "Those aren't the same characters."
Yeah, that happens. I feel like every time a new Muppet project is announced, it's like, Kermit and Miss Piggy in a new Muppet series, and people are always like, "Where's the count?"
Yeah, totally.
Not really how it works.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember the context, but Danny Horn once described it as before someone pushed the Jim Henson Company off the mantle and broke it into 1,000 pieces.
Yeah, that's really, that's what happened.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
But so after we see those Sesame characters, we move on to some characters from the Muppet Show itself.
Well, actually, I wanted to mention we tried to name all the characters who were visible in this shot last week. One I didn't notice last week, but I did notice this week. There's a horse. I'm not sure if it's Buster the horse, who is Forgetful Jones's horse, or if it's Fred the Wonder Horse, who is Marshall Grover's trusty steed. But it's one of those two horses is also sharing this pew space with the Sesame Muppets. Yes. So I just wanted to shout out to that Sesame Street horse.
Nice.
We do not want to forget Buster and/or Fred.
Right, exactly. Whichever horse it is.
Yes. But so we do see a few Muppet Show characters here. Crazy Harry says, "Isn't this exciting?" Pops says, "It's the wedding of the year." Sam the Eagle says, "Well, can't we start without them?" And then the newsman says,
No, you can't until they're here.
There it is. Whoa, is the newsman here? Wow.
Yeah. That's like my best Jim Henson, which is very poor.
Sure.
So we did have two Jerry Nelson characters in a row there.
Yeah.
Right. Crazy Harry and then Pops. The thing that always jumps out to me about this is all of these guys have spoken in the first two movies at some point. All of them had at least a line.
Sure.
In the previous movies. So it's not like they're squeezing in some of these, fan favorites who never got to speak on film or something. But we do see some of them in the background here. Hilda is sitting next to Pops, you guys. Like, they're not even from this. Hilda was only in the first season. Pops was only in the last season.
That's true.
But they're attending this wedding together. What a thrill.
Oh, you think they're there as
they're together. Yeah. They're a couple.
Man, I
now.
hope so. I think they'd be adorable.
Yes, I
agree.
Yeah.
What did you say, Ryan?
Oh, I just said I love that idea that they're at the wedding together. And according to her filmography on Muppet Wiki, this is the first time that Hilda had been seen since the finale of the Muppet movie. So, yeah, it's just so good to see her again.
Mm-hmm.
It really well, and especially like I've been listening to Muppeturgy podcast a lot, as I know you have, Ryan.
Yes,
and those guys, the crew on that show is so fond of Hilda that it has made me remember how much I enjoyed Hilda.
Yeah, and I feel like really the only, I mean, I don't know for sure, but the main reason she did not last beyond the first season of the Muppet Show is just that her performer left the show. So if if Aaron Oscar. Yeah, if Aaron Oscar had stuck around, we might still have Hilda today. Who knows? Like, she might have been recast at some point along the way. We might still have her.
Yeah, that'd be great. I would love it. We should bring Hilda back.
Yeah.
But so who else do we see back here? As far as I can tell, two members of Lubbock Lou and his jug band, but not Lubbock Lou himself. we got Bubba, and we got Grandpa, as far as I could tell.
Can you identify Lubbock Lou on site?
Lubbock Lou, no, actually, I don't know. I can definitely identify Slim on site.
I can't name all the members of the Jug Band.
No, I'll fully admit that I had to look at the wiki to remind myself which ones these were. But we see two of them: Marvin Suggs, Louis Kazak. Marvin Suggs sans Muppaphone, as far as I can tell.
Right.
The
Muppaphones filed a restraining order against him before this was shot. That's why.
I
hope so.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally. But who else do we see? Louis Kazager, the host of Muppet Sports. We got Quango the Gorilla.
Yes.
I almost said Kongorilla, which is a DC Comics character.
Yeah, different guy. Yeah.
But Kongorilla does not appear at this wedding.
Yeah, the Brain, Mala, they're all there. Right. All the DC gorillas are there. Gorilla Grodd.
They're all there.
Of course.
Detective
Beppo
Chimp.
is there. Oh, man. Can you imagine if Detective Chimp was in this movie?
I wish.
What a dream.
I know, it really would be a dream. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, Titano, the whole gang.
Yeah.
There's so many. Ultra Humanite. And we didn't even say Grodd yet.
I did. I said Grodd.
Oh, I said
Grodd in. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Solivar. Yeah. All right. So who else? Bobby Benson. Oh man. DC Comics gorilla stuff. Wonderful. Bobby Benson is sitting back here. We'll see the babies in a minute. They apparently have emancipated themselves from him, which is another feel-good story.
Yeah,
right?
That's great. Yeah, the babies are separated from Bobby Benson. Good for them.
Yes. And then, as far as I can tell, the only other one is Fufu is back there, and
you would think Fufu would have a better seat because she's Piggy's dog.
Piggy's dog,
she or he. I'm not actually sure about Fufu's gender.
I'm not sure.
Fufu's a girl, if I remember correctly, but I might be wrong about that.
Yeah, I know they say it like it's stated explicitly in the Diane Cannon episode. I know that, which is the one where Floyd babysits Fufu. But as far as I can tell, Fufu is being held by Lips. Like Lips is back there, I think, holding Fufu.
I didn't see.
And
Lips.
What is hilarious to me is that Lips isn't sitting by the band.
Yeah,
he got kicked out.
That's weird.
I mean, he's not in this movie, of course, really, other than this.
Right. He's not part of the gang along with the rest of the band.
Right. Well, that's because Lips is nothing. has no character. And as we've established on this podcast, has no lips.
So. That's true.
But he's there. He got to go to the wedding. And I think those are the only characters you can see.
And there's some a pink whatnot sitting kind of behind everybody else.
Right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Who I don't think was any particular character.
I don't think so. Just like one of those. That's one thing that's fun about this sequence or sequences like this for Muppet, like true Muppet nerds, is just being like, oh, that's that one whatnot who was in that one UK spot on the 3rd season of the Muppet Show. Like nobody really cares, right. But yeah. It's
No, it's great to remember who's there, and also like who they chose, who they were clearly their favorites, and also who they thought we would be able to recognize as fans, like for like the deep fans, So because there's a whole bunch of Muppets that aren't at this wedding, both on the Sesame Street side of the aisle and on the Muppet side of the aisle,
Yeah, and I guess they obviously made decisions. I wonder if they were even thinking about fans at the time.
Well, 84, 83, I guess, when they shot this, they must have been at least starting to be aware that home video was a thing.
Oh yeah,
it's definitely more of a thing that filmmakers would be aware of now than it was even when The Great Muppet Caper was made.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's very rich in detail, this scene.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel it was meant to be paused somewhat.
I guess so. And some of them are very obscure. Like, I noticed Lothar, this monster from the Great Santa Claus Switch TV special. Mm-hmm, and then I think
Lothar was there?
Yeah, he's there. And then the Flute Snatcher from that series of like snack commercials from the 60s that was also where Cookie Monster was built for. The Flute Snatcher is there at the wedding.
Yeah, that's Cookie Monster's +1.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is the LaChoy dragon there?
I don't think so, unfortunately.
See, snubbed. Yeah, and Wilkins and Watkins are they're the black sheep of the family, so they're not there because they're worried that they're gonna, shoot a cannon into the wedding.
Yeah, right. Wilkins might blow somebody up.
Although Crazy Harry's there.
Yes, but Crazy Harry is written with so much beautiful restraint in this scene. It's really
he's just excited for the wedding. Crazy Harry just loves weddings.
Yeah, Crazy Harry loves weddings. Crazy Harry, he's a big wedding guy. Yeah,
he's a romantic.
That's right. I mean, his line after all isn't this exciting?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is funny because you'd think his line would be like, "Isn't this a blast?" Right?
Yeah.
It's not. But so then we cut to a choir of penguins who sing, they're finally getting married now.
Yeah.
The penguins are wearing some lovely bows.
They are. And again, I imagine these are the same penguins who applied for a job at Pete's and started a,
yes, I
choir
so.
in their free time.
They somehow found their way into Manhattan Melodies after getting rejected by Pete. Yes.
Well, I'm sure you guys have talked about this on the podcast before this episode, but isn't this sort of the moment in the movie where there's some sort of transference of reality and it's no longer Manhattan Melodies anymore and it's just sort of a wedding? Because all of a sudden there's all these other characters and the way that it cuts and we don't see the audience anymore after this. It feels to me like this is supposed to be a wedding that's actually happening that is real. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yeah. Like you say, there's no way that the Broadway audience can see all of what's going on here.
They can't. Because there's a wall, and
it doesn't look like a set anymore. And right before aesthetically, it very much looks like a set, quite intentionally.
Right.
I think.
As soon as those three, the family of bears cross the threshold of this chapel, the reality shifts into something different.
Yeah, it is. It's like it's a smash cut without it really being a smash cut. Where it's like there's a time and space shift that happens between those two shots. I think
for sure.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is that transition happened right before this clip started.
Yes.
And now after the penguins sing, that's when I would say that's when the song "Somebody's Getting Married" is over, and the song "He'll Make Me Happy" starts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like the shift from one song to the other doesn't happen at the same time as the shift of reality. Which makes it more powerful somehow. I think. I
agree. Yeah. I mean, I just feel that this is an incredibly well directed sequence, and it's so wild to me that it was Frank Oz's first movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like when Manhattan Melody starts all the way through to the end of the movie, like it's like a tour de force. It's one of the best musical sequences in any movie. Literally ever. It's pretty shocking, and I know that it's how he got the job for Little Shop of Horrors and how he branched out from the Muppets, which I know he really wanted to do. But whenever I rewatch it, I am really blown away by the confidence it's directed, the pacing of it, the shot composition. It's beautiful. It's shocking. It's so good.
Well, this comment is made way too often these days, but modern movie musicals. Just nobody can hold the camera still or keep the camera pointed at one thing for more than 2 seconds. So it is this. Right. He's definitely letting things linger so we can actually see all these Muppets and see what they're doing.
Well, and right after this, so once "He'll Make Me Happy" starts, right? Everybody turns and looks at the back of the church. The doors open. The chickens, the rats, and pigs all sigh with delight. And then we see the door with the white space. Kermit and Piggy walk towards each other, now dressed for the wedding. The shot of Kermit and Piggy walking down the aisle singing lasts for exactly 60 seconds.
Oh, that's really interesting.
That's
nice. From 33 seconds in this clip to 1:33. And it's that's got to be the longest shot in this 94-minute movie.
The fact that he was performing, watching himself on monitor, and directing at the same time is really insane to me.
Yeah.
And I think, this might be a controversial statement, but I think that this is a little more tightly directed than anything that Henson directed for Great Muppet Caper. I think the musical numbers in Great Muppet Caper are very, very charming, but this is like there's such a sharpness to this that I feel is sort of lacking in Henson's direction. Personally, that's my opinion about this. Yeah.
I wonder if some of that has to do with the fact that the numbers in Caper tend to be more heavy on like puppet tricks and stunts.
Yep.
Whereas
definitely.
that's not always the case in this. And even the fact that a lot of the songs in this, like, you can't take no for an answer. It's not like they're all breaking out into song and do it. You know, it's more of a montage. And I feel like there are a couple other songs in this that are more like that.
Well, that's actually kind of the reason why this is my favorite Muppet movie, is that it feels like it's a little smaller and it feels like it has not a lot to prove, at this point, sort of in the Muppets cinematic career. And I really like that about it. Like, I feel like all the characters are just written so strongly for the entire movie. All the musical numbers are a real delight. The plot is great. And it's a little more of an intimate look at like some of the best characters instead of being sort of having this big sprawling epic feel, which I feel that the other two do. The first one being this like major road trip / let's prove that the Muppets can be in a movie and work in real environments. And then the second one being like Jim Henson being like, I will use the Muppets to make a big old school Hollywood film musical because that's what I'm interested in, which is great. That's not a criticism, but this one is just like, here we go. This is a little movie about a bunch of kids trying to put on a play. And I really love that about it. I find it very inspiring and really lovely.
Right. Well, and even right here, after we've seen all those characters get one line and we're seeing a bunch of the familiar faces, just the fact that he holds on Kermit and Piggy in a 2-shot for so long while they sing this gorgeous song to one another, and it's such a simple song, I think, but it's so sweet. And tell me if I'm crazy. Before they start singing, the instrumental part feels to me like it's meant to evoke Paco Bell's Canon in D.
100%. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, that's not just me. Yeah. Which is, of course, a very common wedding song.
Yeah, this song, what I think is kind of wild about it is, and I don't know exactly where the ideas for this song came from. Who wrote all this stuff again? Was it Jeff
Moss?
Jeff Moss? Yeah. I mean, Jeff Moss, who's like a master for writing for Muppets at this point, mainly because of all his work on Sesame Street. But like, the reason why these are my favorite 2 minutes is I think that like, this is sort of everybody involved in the film just breaking down what they actually think is important about life. And I think that really, really shines through. The song, I think what's so cool about it as a love song is it's not a song that's very grandiose in, I love him, she loves me, we'll be together forever. That's not the way the song is written. It's written that it's just that they make each other happy and that's what the most important thing is.
That's all I need to know. Yeah.
Yep. And that's an incredible statement about what they actually think is important about romantic relationships. It's not these big grandiose like thoughts or feelings. It's just really about this gut feeling that that this person really will make you happy, will contribute to your happiness no matter what else is going on. And that's this I always get shivers watching these 2 minutes, and very often I cry very emotionally. This is like one of my big crying movies, and this moment, so much so that in the past when I've seen it in theaters with friends, they've had to turn to me and ask if I'm okay. I really like this. This is like one of my favorite movie moments in general, and it has to do with the content of the song. He'll Make Me Happy. I think it's really, really, really brilliant. And then also the scene that we were talking about with the babies and the old Muppets. That line, days go passing into years, years go passing day by day. That's like an incredibly complex. I feel that's very complicated for a very simple way to convey a very complicated idea
in just 2 lines.
Where they're in 2 lines, and visually talking about the passage of time and how we perceive it going through our life cycles. Yeah. That's like that's insane to me. And I feel that is like so everything that the Muppets are about, encapsulated in like just such a great distilled moment. And that's why I love it so much.
Yeah. Well, and I think another, like, talking about how this shot lasts for 60 seconds, the end of that shot is that the camera goes around Kermit and Piggy's heads, and then Kermit and Piggy walk away, and we settle on the babies and the old ladies.
Yeah.
Like, the Frank Oz does not cut away. He like has Kermit and Piggy walk away, and then we have that statement before it cuts, which I feel like thinking about how the movie is edited makes it feel even more profound.
Yeah, and very intentional. That not cutting away is sort of him trying to just cinematically show us these ideas are very, very connected. And seeing the 2 characters getting married who we care a lot about because they're Kermit and Piggy and they rock. And also, this is something I haven't thought about until like literally popping on here, but thinking about the plot of the movie works very, very, very hard to keep them apart for as long as possible. Yeah. Which actually makes the wedding so satisfying that we just get to kind of see them uninterrupted at the end of the movie, the 2 of them. And that whole idea of these 2 characters starting the rest of their lives together, and then cutting or not cutting, panning over and seeing this encapsulation of the life cycle. That's good stuff. That's good movie making right there, and it's lovely. Yeah.
It's also something that's great for the Muppets that you couldn't necessarily, if you weren't doing a Muppet musical, if you were just doing a musical with human actors, you could not have singing babies. So
it would be way harder to do. Yeah, it would be way harder to do.
In animation,
have to explain it in a very different way. It would have to be a chorus of little kids,
little children, which wouldn't be as effective.
No, it's not as effective as legit babies. Yeah.
And it would just seem very mockish. I think with humans, like it would be very hard to make it seem as genuine, which is weird. Like the idea that like the weird shaped cauliflower head.
Well, that's the thing too. Yeah, because it seems kind of funny. Yeah, it maybe seems kind of funny at first because those babies are, as always, hilariously ugly. But then you kind of you listen to the lines that they're singing and you go, oh wow, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, that's like they're allowing like a little bit of space to be serious using these characters, which is awesome. Yeah.
Right. Well, and those old lady puppets were on the Muppet Show. They were a band called Jerry and the Atrics.
Yeah.
Who sang Hound Dog.
Yes.
And and like the whole joke was like, oh, old ladies can sing a rock and roll. What a joke, So it's nice that they're like treated very, very warmly here. I don't know.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, with the respect they deserve as an older lady rock band.
It's true.
I love Jerry and the Atrics.
Yeah,
I do too. But so then we do finally cut away after their line. We cut away to the pigs and then to the frogs. Mm-hmm. And so the pigs include Link and Strange Pork, but also like just a bunch of generic pigs. The frogs include Kermit's coworkers from the ad agency and Robin.
Robin is wearing clothing, like all the other frogs.
Robin is wearing a suit for the wedding. Yeah.
Yes, a nice little baby blue suit.
But and a lot of these frogs are like the frogs from the Frog Prince and stuff. But with clothes on, a lot of them have hair. We should note Bill is still the only one with ears. There's 12 frogs on screen. Only Bill has ears.
Bill is the eared frog. Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that last week. We talked about making T-shirts that say "Bill has ears."
So, in a 2020 live video event with the Museum of the Moving Image, Frank Oz mentioned that there's one blue frog on camera left who is sometimes just sort of hanging there, not actually moving or singing along. So he said like there were so many puppets in the scene that they had to call as many puppeteers as they could, even if they weren't all that good at it. So I tried to find this frog. I think I did. There's this little blue frog right at the end of the pew on the left. He does sing along some of the time, but then there's one shot where it looks like like his head is resting on the pew in front of him. Like maybe the puppeteer's hand just got tired of holding up in the air. So he's just kind of like hanging there. And then when everyone else starts singing, he just perks up and starts singing along. So, you know, you can't blame the puppeteer for getting tired.
No,
right. Well, so maybe
it's hard work.
Right. Well, maybe in universe, he's just, you know, he's at like Kermit's his third cousin or something.
Oh, yeah. We've all been to weddings like that.
Yeah. Like who cares? You know?
Yeah. He's just bored.
And I do want to note that Mrs. Appleby is there also.
Yes.
The leader of the Frog Scouts from the Debbie Harry episode. Of the
Sure.
Is Kermit's acting teacher there?
I don't think so. Because he has like Kermit eyes, doesn't he?
I don't remember what he looked like.
I think he does.
Yeah, I guess he had another wedding to go to.
Right. But then we see the whole core cast of this movie, you know, Fozzie, Gonzo, Scooter, Electric Mayhem, etc. And they all say she only knows he'll make her happy. That's all she needs to know. And then the camera pulls back to reveal the whole church for the first time.
Yeah.
And that is where we end. I think we should probably save most of our detailed discussion of that for next time. But Louie, you're not going to be here. Any thoughts about this whole, you know, 20 pews full of Muppets?
Other than that, I find it every time I watch it completely emotionally overwhelming.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, totally it's like, I mean, I love this song. I love the way it's written, and I love the way that it is presented in this movie. I think that it's such a wonderful melding of sentiment of music and visuals. And for us to see sort of these small moments with these characters, each singing their line, and then for us to cut to the entire church and see that all of them feel the same way about these two characters. It's so lovely and so smart, and really feels like how weddings actually work. I remember that as a little boy watching this, I thought that if you got married, you had to sing. I thought that was a requirement. I remember that. Sure. And that also has a little more to do with like the next 2 or 4 minutes, but I thought that all vows were sung, which I thought was really nice. You know, and all the questions were sung. I also remember like watching this when I was like, I watched it a few times, as a kid. And then I remember watching it maybe when I was around 4 on video, 4.5, and watching it and crying tears of joy the first time, like it emotionally resonating with me in a different way. And I've always cried since then. It's just like hits a really primal part of me. So
I love that.
That's something that I remember. I remember going and telling my mom after watching it, I cried because I was so happy for Kermit and Piggy.
Oh, wow.
Which is really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love those guys. I'm glad they're in my brain. This is the end of the Muppet Cinematic Universe and nothing else counts after this. And they're very happy living on the moon together. That's sort of that's sort of in my brain.
That's
what
one
happened.
Way to look at it.
It's done.
Sure.
It's done after this. What better way could anything end? Hand in hand with a friend. Roll credits. They're happy. They live happily ever after. The rest of the stuff, a lot of it's super fun, but none of it's actually canon. This is it for me.
For sure. Yeah. Totally fair. Awesome.
Other final thoughts about these 2 minutes that I feel are important. Oh God. Oh yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to share. This is kind of fun. In the summer of 2006, you know, I used to have a great job directing kids, being the director of a comedy program for kids at a wonderful arts summer camp. And we had up in our studio where we worked, we had these 2 Ken dolls, and one doll was named Rainbow Prince Ken, and the other doll was named Butterfly Art Ken. So obviously they were a couple for us, and we thought, you know, we shipped the 2 of them. And then we did a sketch show where the running through line was that the 2 Ken dolls needed to get married, but we needed to make sure that we had enough money because the sketch show had run out of money, which was also a Muppet idea that I cribbed. So the sketch show had run out of money, and we were trying to raise money in really shameless ways the entire time, with all of the kids in the sketches trying to help us raise money. And then the end of the sketch show was all the kids, and it was about a 35-person cast. It was all of the kids reenacting this sequence from the Muppets Take Manhattan, and instead of it being Kermit and Piggy, it was this gay wedding, and it felt pretty radical for 2006. It was before gay marriage was legal, so that was pretty cool. And also, all of the kids had such a blast reenacting this because the way the number is laid out, and we started with somebody's getting married, like we did the entire thing all the way through. And the way that we could do it is we could give every single kid their moment to shine.
Oh, right. Everybody gets a line.
Yeah, which was really fun for everybody. And the build of it is so fun and easy. And we were able to plant some of the actors in the audience so that they were standing up in the audience and then running on stage and singing about how they were getting married, and it was like one of the most like joyous things I've ever gotten to stage, and everybody just had such a blast doing it. And then definitely that moment where we cut away and it's the full church and that movement of the song. That's when we had the entire cast of this sketch show sing together. And it was so like genuinely moving and like incredibly fun to hear all these like goofy teenage voices singing the song together after what we had just seen. And I remember specifically the line we had them go, well, they'll be so happy until forever. There's that line where all the Muppets go up and they sing, "Their love will grow." We had like all these like teenage boys going, "Their love will grow," and it was like so silly and moving at the same time, and so much fun for all those boys, those goofy, our voices are changing boys. So, so I wanted to share that anecdote because I feel like. It definitely sort of has this musical number has a little part in my artistic history. So
that's heartwarming. Thank you for sharing.
Of course, yeah.
Ryan, did you have any other thoughts before we close?
Well, nothing as spectacular as that, but
no.
When I interviewed David Mish, the writer who did like some rewrites on this movie, he said he thought this was the largest gathering of Muppets in one shot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I maybe I should have counted, but I don't know if there are more here than there are in the Muppet movie finale.
I can't imagine that there's more here but I guess they're in a more compact space here because the Muppet movie finale,
like it's a smaller space, yeah.
The shot
and they're more
seems like
it
seems like there's more Muppets in that shot in the end of the Muppet movie.
I would think,
and I believe the LaChoy dragon is in that shot, which means that there's probably more Muppets in it.
Well, you know what? There are more of the huge Muppets, I think, in that one because there's more like full body monsters.
Yeah, but there may be more little Muppets. There may be more little Muppets in this sequence.
But this might be number 2 then. I don't know. And today when they do stuff like this, a lot of it is composited. So like they'll do one shot of like 40 Muppets and then the puppeteers will all put on different puppets and they'll just composite it all together. So we probably won't see something like this again.
And we know if Jim Henson were still alive, he wouldn't stand for compositing Muppets together.
Yeah. Despite the fact that he was already doing it in some of his work.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right. Muppet Wiki does have a seating chart for this scene, which is excellent and very useful. I just love like a normal person reading this. I'll link to it in the show notes. To a normal person reading this seating chart, some of it would just seem incomprehensible. Like there's a row that says Irvine, Pearl, Anything Monster, Dinger, Orange Honker, Whatnot, Blue Honker, Whatnot. Like if I showed that to a friend of mine who isn't a Muppet nerd, they'd be like, "What? Who are these Muppets? Are these actually Muppet characters?"
Wait, so let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Pearl is in this, but not Dina.
I think Dina is sitting in a different road, not sitting with Pearl.
Pearl is not babysitting Dina.
I guess not.
Dina and Pearl are a failed, for listeners who may not know, Dina and Pearl are a failed Sesame Street duo. That's like an excitable little girl and her babysitter, played by Karen Prell and Brian Meal. I'm kind of obsessed with them. But
I was looking actually during watching these 2 minutes. You guys can confirm this or deny this, just because I've become very interested in him. Is Roosevelt Franklin in this scene?
I don't think so. I think,
because he was banished from Sesame Street.
Once Roosevelt Franklin was retired from Sesame Street, I don't think they pulled out that puppet for years afterwards.
Yeah, they probably had to rebuild him for some of his appearances recently. Yeah,
right.
But you know how we would find out for sure if Roosevelt Franklin is in this shot?
How is that?
We'll pull it up on Muppet Wiki. Well, then we'll look at that picture and not leave our seats. While Hardhead Henry Harris gives me a beat. Anyways, look at these pictures. Don't leave your seat. Is how that.
I wasn't
sure what you were going for at first. There.
Yeah. I just thought of this question while we're wrapping this up. If you could do some sort of George Lucas special edition of this scene, how would you turn the scene up to 11 and just make it like completely insane? Because I just thought of a great way to do it. But I want to hear your guys's first.
I would replace Gonzo with the mighty Favog from Saturday Night Live.
Yes. Excellent.
Okay, so the scene that says years go passing day by day, or days go passing into years, years go passing day by day, I would replace the babies with the gingerbread men.
From the Sweet Gingerbread Man number from the Muppet Show.
From the Sweet Gingerbread Man number, the peak of the Muppet Show, if you will. So yeah, definitely Gingerbread Men, and I would replace the old ladies with the in Muppera when it's Jim Henson and Jerry Nelson's chins turned upside down.
Just their beards.
I would replace the old ladies with that. So that's how I would take it up. Yeah.
I would also add Waldo flying around the church.
Yes, Waldo flying around.
Actually, he would be the flower girl. He would be tossing out computer animated.
Yes, computer flowers.
Yeah, and he'd be like talking about the movie's domestic box office take. Like, Mr. Kermit, I'm worried. We're not making enough money. So what was yours, Louie?
This is very silly. I would add an entire third pew. That's every single human guest star from the Muppet Show.
Oh, wow. I like that.
Yeah, that'd like they're hanging out with all of them, like, and they're really happy for Kermit and Piggy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
that'd be great. 4 of them are in this movie already. So
yes, yeah. It's a pretty good ratio, actually. Yeah,
not bad. It's much better than Caper, right? Where it was just John Cleese.
Just John Cleese. That's right. Yeah, but
Peter
Caper has
Peter Ustinov.
Oh yeah, Ustinov, who's also a guest on the Muppet Show. That's right. Yeah.
Those are the 2.
Yeah,
but this one has 4. The Muppet movie has what, 8? Is that what we counted?
Something
8 or 9?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah,
a lot.
It's
Muppet
excellent.
movie's a lot. Yeah.
The other row on the seating chart that I love says chicken, 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 male Kuzbanian, Fazoob, flower eating monster, Droop. These are all, very important guests to invite to the wedding.
Well, I'm glad Droop is there.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, that would have been an amazing cut scene, is Kermit and Piggy deciding on the guest list.
Who's going to be like...
We can't forget Droop. Oh, right. You're totally right.
Yeah. Sorry, we're going to have to cut the 7th chicken to make room for Droop.
Exactly.
Well, you know what would have been funny? And when I say funny, I mean only for me. If Droop, George the janitor, Mildred, if they had all got up and started singing the "We Got Love" song from Muppets Valentine's Special.
Yeah, and Miss Mousy, who would be like, I used to date Kermit back in the day.
Yeah, Miss Mousy would be really upset.
Right. Kermit's ex, Miss Mousy. Is she in there? I don't know.
I don't think so. I
hope so. I wish.
No, Piggy would have felt uncomfortable.
Yes, probably.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, this was not the first time that fans had seen Kermit and Piggy dressed up for a wedding. There's the Marisa Berenson episode of The Muppet Show in which Piggy tries to trick Kermit into getting married on stage. There's the Muppet movie, the Piggy's dream sequence for Never Before, Never Again, which ends with a wedding. When we covered that, I noticed that she's actually wearing the same wedding dress in that sequence as she wore in the Marisa Berenson episode of the Muppet Show. So that was a fun thing. And then this movie was filmed in 1983, which was just 2 years.
Ryan, you forgot one. The Waiting at the Church in the John Cleese episode.
Oh, that's
Piggy
a good one.
is a pregnant bride, and then Kermit comes in.
Kermit also shows up dressed for a wedding?
Kermit shows up in that sketch. Yeah, they're both dressed for a wedding.
Yeah.
And if you look up that sketch on Muppet Wiki, the picture is Kermit and Piggy together.
Okay.
So,
yeah, Piggy has a pregnant bride.
Yeah. Just that is, no comment. It's just, it's just there. Wild.
Just wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, this was just 2 years after the wedding of Prince Charles and Lady Diana in England, which was a huge wedding of famous people just like this. So Muppet Magazine in their spring 1983 issue did a photo spread of Kermit and Piggy as the Frog Prince and Lady Pie. Which
I think Lady Pie's great. I think that's really? So smart and funny. I do. I think it's very funny.
It's a little bit of a stretch, but I'll allow it.
I like it.
I like it. You guys know who should have been the other woman in that?
Who?
Camilla.
Oh, of course.
Oh, that would be amazing.
But yes, we'll have more on the wedding next week, I'm sure. So that's all I have for now.
Yes. All right.
I mean, so I just want to say I wish that Muppet Magazine was still a thing because it was really the best publication of the 80s, quite frankly.
Well, I don't know if I've ever... we've probably talked about Muppet Magazine a little bit on this podcast, but back at the time, I was subscribing to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe magazine. Mm-hmm. And then one day, suddenly, I got a little postcard in the mail that was like, sorry, He-Man magazine doesn't exist anymore. So that was disappointing. But then it said, so for the rest of your subscription, you will be getting issues of Muppet Magazine. And I was like, wait a minute, there's a Muppet Magazine all this time? And if I had known... Like, screw He-Man. I would have been getting Muppet Magazine this whole time.
Yeah, the He-Man magazine was just all these, like, boring, like, essay think pieces by Man-at-Arms. It was really inappropriate for kids. And then you get Muppet Magazine, which is the most fun thing that's literally ever happened in a magazine.
It really was. Like
Muppet Magazine was awesome. It really...
Did you subscribe to?
I used to pick it up at Safeway when I would go shopping with my mother. I remember, and I used to have a whole bunch of the centerfolds, pinned like up on my wall.
All those parodies,
like 5 or 6. Yeah, I remember having one that was He-Man, He-Frog, and the Muppets of the Universe. I remember one that was Kermit dressed like Michael Jackson, and it said "not bad." There was
you just work with what you have.
Yeah, there was Kermie Herman, which was Kermit dressed as Pee Wee Herman doing a tequila dance.
Yeah.
Madonna. There was a Madonna one I used to have up that was Miss Piggy dressed as Madonna, and it was Material Pig.
Nice.
They were good. The parodies were all really funny and really well shot and staged. And were very 80s. Very 80s.
Well,
I was just a little too young for it.
Yeah,
I'm looking. Muppet Wiki says the final issue was spring '89.
Yeah, so a dark day for Muppet fans when that was it. For that. Yeah.
The great thing about Muppet Magazine is that people. It seemed like the people at Henson actually cared about it and were actively working on it. It wasn't like they just sort of, like told the publisher, you just put some pictures of Muppets on this thing and here's some stock photos. Like they were actually, like actual Muppet writers were working on it. They actually wanted it to be good.
Well, that's something about the company that is the reason why we still care.
Yeah.
Is that whatever medium they ended up translating the characters into, they really had long and hard thoughts about how do we make this the best we can make it, and also two, how do we take that like absolutely anarchic spirit and translate it to whatever new medium. And you can hear that in like all the records. You can see that in all the like the home video projects. And this is I don't think she'll ever hear this, but one of my coworkers for this freelance gig I'm doing for Sesame Street used to be the editor of Muppet Magazine. Yeah. And she's been giving me all these notes and suggestions for writing for the characters, specifically for the Sesame Street characters. But she's been working with Muppets since the 80s, A, and B, every single suggestion she gives me is like dead on amazing. And I'm like, and when I looked up her bio and I was like, oh, she worked on Muppet Magazine, that made me like very, very, very excited to work on her because Muppet Magazine was of such a high quality. Yeah. So there you go.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So before we go, Louie, you've kind of already answered this, but as you might recall, we like to ask our guests, do you remember your history with this movie, which you've discussed a little bit, but any other thoughts are welcome. And then where would you rank it among the Muppet movies, which you've also said, but please tell us why.
Sure. So my history is, this is the first Muppet movie I saw in theaters. I was 3. I saw it with my mother and my cousin Jenny. I remember that. It left a huge impression on me being so young and seeing a movie like this on the big screen. And I've been watching it ever since, and I watch it fairly regularly. I'll definitely watch it once every few years or so at the very least. And I rank it number 1. I actually think it's the best Muppet movie. I think if you want to take the spirit of the Muppets and everything that is good about the Muppets and distill it into one movie and focus on the characters that really matter and the sort of stuff I want to see them doing, this is actually the movie, kind of surprisingly. So yeah, I rank this one number 1. This is my favorite one. I think this is the best one. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many guests we've had who we've had a lot of guests who say it's their favorite. And most of them have also said, you're not going to believe it. You know what I mean? There's just something about it that feels like an underdog. You know, like
it's a total, well, it wasn't as successful, I know. And it was the third in a series. And I also know it came out at a time when they were ready all to sort of move on to other things. It wasn't the major priority for any of them in their brains. Like I know that one of the reasons why they wanted to make one where they go to Manhattan is so that they could all go home for lunch, which shows how which shows like where they were at sort of with this sort of project. And, but there's something about it that's so sharp and succinct and funny and really cuts to the core of the characters. And I get people that, their number 1 is the Muppet movie, because I think the Muppet movie has so much going for it that's so wonderful. I love The Great Muppet Caper, but that's the one that I am like surprised when people say it's their favorite, just because I think it's kind of the least accessible, I feel.
That's both my Ryan and my favorite one.
Yeah. Muppet Caper, like I think it's great, but I also just don't think it's as good as the other two. I just don't.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
No, I get it. I know our friend and frequent guest Joe Hennis feels the same way.
Yeah. Like I just think it's a little more of a messy kind of all over the place movie with some amazing stuff in it.
That's kind of what I love about it, though, is that they're just like throwing everything against the wall.
And everybody has a different thing that is their favorite thing about the Muppets. So it's probably, whatever that is probably reflected in your choice for the favorite.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
But here's the thing. They're all good.
Yes.
All 3 of them are very good.
Right. The classic trilogy, like, that's great. Like if we look at these 3 movies as a trilogy, that's one of the best trilogies ever made, I think.
Yeah, we never got it any better than this, period. We had the Muppet Show, and then spinning out of the Muppet Show, we had these 3 fantastic movies. And it's really not ever been the same since, and that's a shame. This was really the golden age, and I feel like this movie kind of marks the end of the golden age. We had Muppet Family Christmas after this, and we had the Disney World special, but this was really so specific. There's such a specific moment in time for the characters, and it was very special.
Yeah, I agree, and that's a perfect place to end. Louie, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure, of course. Thanks for having me.
Listeners, that's all for today, but you can check out toughpigs.com on the internet, Facebook, Twitter, all over the place. We are on Patreon now, so support us there if you feel so moved to do. You can email us at movingrightalong@toughpigs.com to offer your thoughts on Muppets Take Manhattan or really anything else about the Muppets. We'll be here for you.
Or your thoughts on the Muppet Christmas Carol, which is coming up.
Muppet Christmas Carol, just around the corner. Our theme music was composed by Stacy Rosen, and our logo was designed by Morgan Davy. So thank you to both of them. You can follow Ryan on Twitter at @MeRyanRowe. You can also follow Ryan on Letterboxd at Movies Are Neat, and you can follow me on Letterboxd at Zeppo Marxist. Louie, where can our listeners find you and or your work online?
Sure, absolutely. So you can find me at Louie4711 on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. My website is louispearlman.com. And I mean, the main thing that seems appropriate to plug is come October or so, I think it's around October, my episodes that I've written of the Sesame Street podcast, Foley and Friends, are going to start airing on Audible. So you can listen to me write for the Muppets, which is basically has like shattered my brain into a million pieces that it's a thing that's actually happening in my life right now.
Congratulations, man.
Thank
That's really
you.
exciting.
It rocks. It's the best. It's mostly I'm writing and I'm like, I'm fine. I'm doing my job. Everything's going great. And then every once in a while I'll be like, okay, I've just had Frank Oz and Jim Henson's voices in my head for the last 3 hours. This is very intense. Like, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody be sure to check that out. I believe the podcast is already running, so you can go ahead and listen to that anytime and listen for Louie's episodes this fall.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, while you're waiting, you can give us a positive review on your podcatcher of choice and tell all your friends, all your enemies, all the guests at your wedding to listen to this show. And we'll be back next week with another episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.